Hey there, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a grammar point that can, and I mean this, seriously boost your IELTS score. We're talking about those small, often kind of invisible words that are actually the backbone for pretty much every English sentence you'll ever use.
So to get us warmed up, let's start with a quick puzzle. These next few sentences, they look pretty different on the surface, right? But they all share a secret little grammatical connection. Let's see if you can spot it. So, did you get it? Yep. Those words in bold, is, have, and do, that's our secret weapon for today. Auxiliary verbs, or as you might have heard them called, helping verbs. They might seem small, but trust me, getting a handle on these is a total game changer for your fluency and, yeah, your score. Here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with what these verbs actually are. Then we'll meet the big three and their cool cousins, the modal squad. After that, we'll connect it all directly to your IELTS score. And I'll show you how to sidestep some really common mistakes. Okay, first things first. What in the world are these so-called helping verbs? And why do I keep calling them the unsung heroes of English grammar? The best way to think about them is as the support crew for the main verb. The main verb, that's your rock star, right? Words like studying, finished, agree, they carry the main meaning. But the auxiliary verbs are like the roadies and the sound technicians. They help the star do its job perfectly by giving us context about time or possibility or just the basic structure of the sentence. All right, let's meet the three heavyweights. These are, without a doubt, the most important helping verbs in the entire language. They are the foundation you'll be using in just about every conversation. First up, the verb to be, in all its forms, am, is, are, was, were. This one is a real chameleon. It's the one you need to describe actions that are happening right now, like I am running. And it is absolutely vital for forming the passive voice, which, by the way, is super important for formal writing, like in the decision was made. Next up is do. This is your absolute workhorse for asking questions and for making negative sentences sound right. I mean, without it, things just get weird. And hey, don't forget its third job. It can add a little punch of emphasis. Like when you say, I do believe you. And rounding out our core three is have. This verb is just essential. It's how we form the perfect tenses, the ones that build a bridge from the past to the present. Saying she has lived here for years gives so much more depth and information than just saying she lived here. Okay, so we've got the basic structure down. Now for the really fun part. Let's get into the world of nuance, because this next group of helpers is what adds all those subtle but totally critical shades of meaning to what you say. Meet the modal squad. I love that name. These are verbs like can, will, should, and must. What's cool about them is they don't change their form. They just team up with main verbs to express things like ability, like I can swim, or maybe some advice, like you should study. They add flavor. Okay, so we've gone through the grammar, but let's bring this all back to the reason you're here. How does any of this get you more points on the IELTS exam? Why is this so important? Take a look at this sentence. This is the kind of stuff that gets high scores in an IELTS writing task. See what's happening here? We've got a combination, should be and will have. When you put a modal and a core auxiliary together like that, you're creating a really sophisticated, precise argument. That kind of complexity, that's exactly what examiners are looking for. So here's the bottom line. Using these verbs correctly isn't just about not losing points for mistakes. No, it's about gaining points. It's a direct signal to the examiner that you have a really strong command of English. And it lets you build complex sentences, ask questions the right way, and write with real authority. All right, we all know it's one thing to understand this stuff sitting here now, but it's a whole different story when you're in the exam and that clock is ticking. So let's talk about the most common traps people fall into and, more importantly, how you can just dodge them. This is a classic. You see it all the time. Forgetting to use do or did when you're asking a question. It is such a tiny word, but look at the difference. Leaving it out makes the whole sentence wrong. You've got to remember that little helper verb. And here's another one. Oh man, this is a dead giveaway to an examiner. Mismatching the subject and the verb. We've all heard it, right? He don't. The correct way, of course, is he doesn't. It's called subject-verb agreement, and it's a small detail that examiners notice immediately. Always, always double-check it. So how do you catch yourself before you make these errors? I've got a super simple 3-step mental checklist for you. First, find your main verb, the main action. Second, ask yourself, does it have a helper? Does it even need one?
And third, just check the agreement. Does everything match up? It's a quick little scan that can save you a ton of points.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. If you only remember one thing from this explainer, let it be this. Auxiliary verbs aren't just some boring grammar rule you have to memorize. They are the actual structural backbone of English sentences. And when you truly understand them, when you master them, you're giving yourself the tools to build stronger, clear, and frankly, way more impressive arguments on your IELTS exam. Which leaves me with one last question for you. Now that you know how powerful they are, which one are you going to focus on mastering first?